Virgos, welcome to your weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is going to be from March 28th through April 3rd of 2016. I'm Athen, and this is for Sidereal Astrology. If you are new to the channel, be sure to check out the link down below because the signs are different. All right, so Virgo, this week we are, of course, still in a very transformational time coming off of this lunar eclipse cycle. So the lunar eclipse happened last week, and this has been specifically involving your house in Virgo. So your goals, your drives, your ambitions, and it's a sort of status checkpoint of this whole eclipse time period. So a lot of the things that have been coming to you this past week about yourself, maybe your self-image and your goals, it's good to implement this week because we will be in the third quarter phase, which is about taking action. And again, this is a long-term energy. It's spanning all the way into September. So it is about getting moving with that and implementing those insights. So this is all about improvement, of course, which is what your sign's all about, and seeing what you can improve about, again, yourself, your goals, your self-image, moving forward along the life journey. Now, this is shifting into a new direction for you, though, because the North Node is actually going into your 12th house. So a lot of this stuff has already been going on, but the new area for you is specifically with your spirituality. Maybe getting that alone time, that spiritual time out. And you're learning a lot about this with Jupiter retrograde in your 12th, maybe even learning more about your true, deep spiritual self. So this week we are still coming off of some energies from March, and there's definitely a shift going into April where a lot of things are transforming, taking on a new direction. One of which is that we're finishing up this first half of the week, Jupiter squaring up to Saturn, and the South Node conjoining up to Chiron. So in terms of these new directions with the life path, there is Saturn here, saying that, yeah, it's definitely a time for spirituality, but there's a perhaps grounded a way of doing this, or maybe there's some responsibilities that need to be integrated with it, or patience and persistence with it. And that's reflective right now because Saturn has been retrograde since last week. So maybe you're re-examining too some of these things you've been building in your life involving either short distance communication, short distance travel, anything in your immediate environment, maybe how you communicate, how you speak, how you think about things. You've been building structures here in your life, which has been great. So now it's a good time to re-examine that. And also re-examine too what is really deep and meaningful and how to convey the deep truths through your thoughts and communications, which is of course that Scorpio and Ophiuchus energy. In fact, with Mars here, you could be very direct this week in terms of how you communicate, how you exchange, how you interact, and that can be also good energy moving forward. Now, in terms of this Chiron South Node energy, this is really emphasizing the 7th house this week. The 7th house is about one-to-one relationships. So with this, there's healing taking place, maybe some old perspectives of relationships, maybe some over extremes or imbalances involving your perspective on one-to-one connections or relationships, which can be healed, can be transformed this week. This has been an ongoing theme, but it's going to be actualized a little bit more on the everyday level because Venus is going to be going over this conjunction Tuesday and Wednesday. So I want to start off by saying that you can certainly enjoy these one-to-one connections right now with Venus in the 7th house, but being open to healing with them and again, perhaps releasing some old values about them. Okay, and particularly your values, because Venus rules your 2nd house, which is all about seeing that there is, of course, a healthy amount of enjoyment in life, a healthy amount of enjoyment in relationships when done in a healthy way and when done with acceptance and compassion and all of that sort of Pisces energy. Now, in terms of your 9th house too, there might be a shift in terms of your worldview, your life path direction, and maybe some things you're healing with that as well this early part of the week. Now, speaking of that 7th house, you've got the sun here, so you're really gaining a lot of energy, I feel like, or at least focused on one-to-one connections. Okay, but you can gain that prana, you can gain that energy, I think, by relating and working with others at the moment. You might be quite focused on it, in fact, with Mercury, your ruler, in the 7th house. And Mercury is going to be squaring up to Pluto Tuesday and Wednesday, as well as trining up to Saturn. So with the attention on those interrelationships, you certainly got some good momentum, some good support, or at least a maturity about it, or a groundedness about it this week. But there could also be maybe some intensity about it. And it could, again, just be with the communications. So you want to bring extra attention to that. You want to work with that tact, that mutual respect, mutual understanding of that 7th house. And the mind, there could be some intensity with the mind and communication. So with both of those areas, seeing where you can really connect on that emotional level with your personal life in that healthy way through non-attachment, which is the best way to work with Pluto. And in that way, it can be very intimate, very deep, constructively. Now, as we approach Thursday, your ruler does go over Uranus, and so you guys could be feeling like breaking free, maybe wanting some more freedom in relationships, because that's been a major theme for you with Uranus in that 7th house. And of course, that is the theme, isn't it? Is that it is important for you to have individuality, unorthodoxy, independence, that free-spirited energy in your interrelationship. So a great week for that, to implement that, of course, in a nice grounded and steady sort of way, but doing it nonetheless. And there could be perhaps some strong intuition coming in this week. Perhaps you're feeling like making changes with yourself, your self-identity. So you're more eccentric, your outer self represents more of your inner true self. Okay, and also maybe even with your career as well, since Mercury rules your 10th. A good week for changing that, shifting things, perhaps. Now, there's no major aspects over the weekend, but I do want to cover it. The moon is going to be in Capricorn. So this is going to be an emphasis, I think, on your self-expression, which makes it a good weekend, I feel like, for connecting to either the creative, playful, or entertaining aspects of life. And again, this is all about implementation, specifically with these insights that are still coming in, but really being applied, I think, about who you are, where you're headed, what are your goals, what is your self-image, and what might need to be improved or changed with that, which is that Virgo energy. All right, Virgo, so have an excellent week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next week.